Hello, lovely people. I'm back again. EBD, also known as E. I mean, just call me by a bunch of freaking names, alright? Anyway, back celebrating 17 years of YouTube to the month. And as part of the celebration, I'm going to be publicizing all of my videos that I've ever created on YouTube. Um, a lot of them have been hidden away private in my vault simply because, society, opinions, applying for a job. So now that we live in a completely different universe, I think that it's kind of that time. No, I think enough time has passed to where these older videos can like kind of be out there and not be made like a real big deal about. They're older videos, they're mine, they're my thoughts, they're me. They're a different. It's a reflection and a time machine into what kind of like personality I was, right? Um, I guess my sense of humor may have been kind of like drier or something. I wasn't like, I guess I wasn't as I don't know what you call it, like jolly or something back then. I was kind of serious, but okay, I was serious. So I was participatory. I was I think I'm hardcore Democrat, hardcore liberal. Those are liberal ideas I'm spitting. So I own that. Still own it. I still don't disagree with anything that I've said, even though that a lot of my stuff is repetitive. Like I guess when I speak, sometimes I'm trying to make a point, and it was 10 minutes back then, the 10-minute limit. So as you're going on to make another point and another point, you kind of want to sum up what you kind of said so you can make your next point. But I'm thinking that was my process back then. But anyway, I've already queued up another video. Let me go ahead and share that now. Let's see. Screen. And this one is called Racism in America. Everyone's been talking about it. I mean, every person has a point of view on it. This is mine. So we're just going to go ahead and get into it. I mean, hell, why not?
Hi there, it's Easton again. Most people call me E. I just got back from an interview, so I'm just trying to relax and get into that relaxed mode. Anyway, I'm here because of some responses and feedback that I've had from some of my videos, which are good. Well, some of them are pretty negative, but their responses all and feedback all the same, which is what I feed off of, which is what I take in, think about, and then produce another video. So the subject I wanted to kind of touch on today, I didn't want to go too knee deep into it because that would take forever. I wanted to touch on racism in America and how white people perceive it and black people perceive it. Now, as you know, we have a big presidential campaign coming up. We have the first African American running for the White House. Basically, his campaign is on, unity, hope, bringing this country together in order to solve one of our all of our major issues, such as the economy, the war, education, taxes, jobs, and so forth. But there's a handful of people on YouTube who perceive Barack Obama to be a racist, and they have no evidence of it, not whatsoever. All this so-called Muslim talk, oh, he was a Muslim, he's Muslim, he has a Muslim belief, that was debunked. Oh, he's a racist, oh, he made racist comments, that was debunked. I mean, really, do you really need me to break out the dictionary and tell you what it is? You can look on dictionary.com. I implore you to do so. Racism, a belief or doctrine that differences among the various human races determine cultural or individual achievement, usually involving the idea that one's own race is superior and has the right to rule others. That's it. I, being myself, believe, that would mean that I would believe, since I'm black, I'm superior to all other races: Hispanic, white, Asian, uh, Latin American, whatever. Um, my race has the right to rule everybody and speak for everybody and dominate everybody. And a lot of people throw that word around, but really don't know what that means. Pretty much, Obama doesn't have that point of view. He's never had that point of view. He's not campaigning on that point of view. So, because he's not running on that point of view and he hasn't said anything, he hasn't really done anything, you want to look at the book of The Audacity of Hope, pointing excerpts out of there that prove what? Actually, nothing. That he's a mixed American growing up in a racially divided society, and how he has struggles and internal conflicts with that, and how he had to deal with it coming up. And he decides to share with everyone his personal experiences and what choices he had to make in life. So, not one word that I've heard out of that book from people who've been quoting it, because I don't own the book yet. I plan on buying it, but I've not heard one word that indicates that his race, which is mixed, is superior to all others, and has the right to rule. There's not one valid argument. I've heard it from not one person. So if you can't lose the audacity of hope, you look to his church. You look at Reverend Wright. Reverend Wright uses speeches talking about how, America has done so much damage to the world. Nagasaki. He speaks of Nagasaki and Hiroshima, which a lot of people died. I mean, it was a world war. We got into it. America got into it. And how we're paying for what we've done to the world. So he speaks in a private setting at a church upon this issue, which Obama hasn't even attended any of these inflammatory speeches. He said so himself. And an editor of the Washington Post stated that he was at one of those sermons or speeches, and that was debunked. So instead, you look at the church. You look at the church itself, and you base his racism on the church's statement about how we're committed to Africa, or whatever the statement may be. You decide to take it upon, they decide, not you. They decide to take it upon themselves and put those words into Obama's mouth. He's never said them. He's never agreed or disagreed with them. It's not his statement. He never wrote it. He simply attends a black church. Whatever their mission statements are or their beliefs are doesn't necessarily mean that it's Obama's own beliefs and what he's running on. The basic misconception is that since he goes to a church that has a black value system, that he's a racist. He believes that, because the word black is used, that's separating race. And it does separate race. The problem is that other races have their own churches. Asians, Buddhists, monks, they all have their own churches that they go to, but yet we don't call them racists or separatists. The issue is that pretty much black people have been oppressed. I mean, we just have. I mean, for centuries now. We're a lot better than we were before. I wasn't a part of it. None of you were probably a part of it. But the anger is still there. And a lot of people still feel it. A lot of people did live in the 60s and did live in that deep oppression and separatism and racism and prejudice. And they still carry that anger with them. So when they express it in a closed environment, such as a church, um, yeah, he's speaking to black people. He's speaking to his common race, and we all do it. We all talk to our friends and neighbors, and say things behind closed doors that we wouldn't say outside those doors. So to judge a presidential candidate who speaks of pretty much, you
Mhm. That's only part one. Don't worry about it. I'm on it. I'm on it. I'm on it. But before I go, I mean, I'm doing it now, but because I think if you're like me, you're watching it, you're like, I picked up a piece of paper, I'm about to read some shit. Man. But yeah, okay. This was when I'm back. I'm heavy into politics at this moment, like in time. I'm making it public now. Um, at this moment in time. So I'm picking up shit. I'm reading. You know what? Let me pick up. Do I have to define it for you? Let me get the. I got the paper. I got the paper, and I read dictionary.com. So anyway, let's see. Okay, let's pause. Okay, and let's. And part two. Part two's right there. Right there. Let me a little bit. Okay, we are here, and let's go.
for the United States, hope for a better future, equality and peace among each other and other countries, and then to just slander all of the positive messages and speeches of unity and hope, which is what this country really needs, to just go back and basically mudsling him on the church that he goes to, is really low. I mean, it's just dirty politics. I mean, this is how politics are. It's just the same old thing of Washington. And you people who keep referring back to his black church, you have no idea what that black church is about. You have no idea what it is to be black. You have no idea what it's like to be oppressed or feel prejudice, actually. The reason I state that is because obviously, if you did know what it was like, then you know that this man is fighting against it. And if he's fighting against it, then there's nothing wrong with it. People who do know where he's coming from and do understand his speeches and does understand how everyone is rallying up behind him, how he's winning in the election. It's not because he's black, it's because he knows what he's talking about. He's been there. He's felt what's wrong with this country. He knows what's wrong with this country. He's been through it. He's worked with it. He's worked with others to overcome it. And he's overcome a lot to get where he is today. And that is a huge message. That means that anyone can achieve, no matter where you come from. So my problem with those individuals who choose to try and slander his good name, which it is a very good name, is the fact that you don't have a problem with a president who lied us into a war and who has spent all of our money and has doused our economy into a recession and has outsourced our jobs overseas and does nothing on immigration and does nothing on healthcare. You don't have a problem with that. But what you do have a problem with is a African American candidate who speaks of hope, unity, equality, and peace, and working in a positive way to bring people together. It's as if you like the diversity. It's as if you like things the way they are. The first person who ever speaks, the first candidate who ever speaks of unity, hope, and equality and peace among, not just, the United States, but the entire world. The first candidate to ever really touch on it and speak on it and run on it. This is a person that you pick to slander simply because of his race. And I think if you want to be honest, then just be honest. You don't want an African American president. If you don't want an African American president, that means that you feel that he doesn't represent you somehow just because of the color of his skin. And you're more comfortable with someone such as Hillary or John McCain rather than Barack Obama. And the sole definition of racism, like I just said, the last couple of sentences sums it up, usually involving the idea that one's own race is superior and has the right to rule others. That's what racism really is. Barack Obama's not running on it, nor has he ever run on it, nor has he ever believed it. He comes from both backgrounds of black and whites. He's heard racism from both sides. So to simply state that he's racist without any real evidence to back it up at all, just empty rhetoric, doesn't hold a cup of water with anyone, which is why he is winning in the presidential race today. I believe it's your own insecurity. I believe you're afraid. You're afraid of being just like you would be afraid and use the same tactics if it was a Latino president. You'd be afraid that he'd be biased and he'd be allowing all immigrants to just run rampant across the border and not do anything about it, or lean towards Latinos and, rights and jobs and things like that. So you're more comfortable with history being ruled by Caucasian men or women rather than African American who actually wants to get things done and get past this. Now, we can't get past racism individually. We'll never get past racism with those individuals pointing out false accusations. We'll only be condemning ourselves to more of the same economic standards, wars, uneducated people, things like that. The problem is that I want Obama to win because he's talking about bringing the country together in a way that has never been done before. And he's already done that in this presidential campaign. More people have come out to vote more now than ever before. Well, since a long time. I don't have those statistical numbers. I really don't care. But the fact that young people and old people are alike are excited about him is because he's running on these positive messages, because we believe that we can get these things done and we can move past it. I mean, my generation is pretty much 2000, class of 2000. Hello to all you 2000 classes out there. Anyway, in my generation, I've seen that. I've seen the bias. I've seen the prejudice. I've seen the racism out there, and I've seen it grow, and I've seen it diminish. The only difference is that when I see the diversity grow among a high school or a middle school, it's usually because of fear. But when I see a neighborhood, and I have lived in a bunch of neighborhoods, my mom was in the military, I have seen a bunch of neighborhoods who aren't afraid, who are positive, who talk to each other, who get to know one another and is familiar with each other, and there's just no fear. Not at all. I mean, you live in a community which is safe because everyone knows each other, everyone talks to each other, no matter of race, color, background, or religion. That's how your neighborhoods can be safe. That's how a country could be safe, by opening dialogue from instead of pointing fingers, instead of looking at the past, instead of trying to run off the past. You need to be looking toward the future. You need to get familiar with people that aren't of your own background, that aren't of your own color or religion, and know what they have to say. The more you know someone, the less you are afraid of them. And the less you're afraid of somebody, the more secure you are about being around them and being secure with yourself. So a lot of people don't know the African American culture or their beliefs, and they assume by watching BET and MTV that they do know, and actually they don't. They only see a small part of it, which is, what, hip hop and rap, things like that, skimpy women on music videos, and that's just what they think we're all about. I mean, it's just stereotypes. And what the problem is that these same individuals use those stereotypes to judge everyone, an entire race. Now, of course, I can sit here and say that all white people are crazy and warmongers because I can point to Hitler and I can point to Napoleon and I can point to a bunch of dictators and people who wanted, worldwide power, things like that, white supremacy over anything else. I mean, you still see that in our culture today. You see terrorism here at home, pretty much, and no one's done much about it. We pretty much accept it. I mean, and we shouldn't, which is the problem. I mean, every time you hear about, New York City's finest shooting unarmed black men just because they look.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Woo. Okay. Let me see. Was there how many parts were this thing? Um, three. Okay. That was part two. Let me uh let me load up part three. Let me see. Part two. And let me make this public. All right. That was part two. And go here to part three. And here. Oh, there we go. Here we are. Now, apparently I was cooking. So let's find out where I was going with all this. This this is just I don't know. I can't explain the feeling, right? It's like it's unreal, right? I mean, it's not you running around in your diapers when you were 5, right? It's not that. And it's not you when you were a teenager, like playing, I don't know, badminton or kickball, but it's you when you were younger. And it was when you were I'm of a generation. A generation has passed, meaning like about 20 years has passed between when I made this video and who I am today. So in watching this, it's kind of I'm the word is going to be refreshing. How is it that you can watch your? I don't know who else can do this right now. I can do this because I'm me, but there are a lot of people out there. My daughter is in her 20s. She is at this age where I'm at in the video. So I am going to see if I can share this experience with her, make these videos public. Maybe she'll have a better idea of who I am as these videos have been publicized and have been circulated. I'll send her some links to my channel and see if she's interested. But all of these videos do have me just, hey man, I'm opinionated. I believe in the same ideas that, I don't disagree now with what I said back then, right? So, but what I will say for the context of how I am speaking, there are some words that I've obviously like misconstrued it. Like when I say diversity, I think I'm talking about division. We've never had much more. We've never been in a more divided country. Diversity would just be people of different ethnicities, backgrounds, and heritage, things like that. But I think I'm talking about division, which is the context of what I'm saying. We've never had more division, not diversity. Well, diversity, that's true too. But we've never been in a country, in a state of more division than what we are now. I think that's the context that I'm using the word diversity. So just a little correction on that. Hopefully, with that correction, you'll understand the context of the previous videos I was recording as well. So let's see what I was saying.
Suspicious, and every time the LAPD beats black people or whatever, for speeding or for whatever reason. I mean, yeah, it is a big deal and it's an outrage, but you choose to slide that under the rug and don't see it. You don't see where the anger is coming from. And it's a real disaster too, because it's like, what do you know? What really do you know of the African American culture than other than what you see on TV? How about you talk to an African American person and see their point of view and see how they feel about what has happened in the past and what they want for their future? Now, I want to touch on another aspect of racism, because I'm speaking as an African American. I do not dare speak for a Caucasian or for an Asian or for a Latino. They have the right to speak for themselves on how they feel and what they want for their futures. Now, myself personally, um, I do have uh, I do have a wife, and she is Caucasian, and my daughter is mixed. Right now, she has my features, which is, the kinky hair, the eyes, the nose. She has her grandpa's chin. It's a family chin. But anyway, everyone that I know, all sides of my family love her. My family loves her. My wife's family loves her because she is who she is. She's the product of two different families that have um, lived through the 60s and the racism and the prejudice and one person against another. They've lived through that. So to see a product of, kind of like a peace offering between the two really kind of brings me comfort, knowing that the future that comes behind me is going to be interracial, is going to be mixed. It's going to come from that kind of generation of integration, meaning that literally we will all be one people, instead of pointing out differences in skin tone and in cultures and in religions, things that really shouldn't matter outside of those aspects. Outside of church, your religion shouldn't be someone else's oppression, or you shouldn't oppress your religion on other people, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Um, you shouldn't force your religion on someone else simply because, they're the same race as you are, or maybe not the same race as you are, but you believe that your system of belief is better than anyone else's. It's just not right. Everyone has the right to their own personal beliefs and what they believe spiritually or religiously. So to basically kind of stamp Barack Obama as a bad person simply just doesn't hold water with anyone. You can take a look around. No one's really listening to those individuals anymore. I mean, you have nothing. You have nothing. Only your own insecurity for an African American to be president. Why? Because he's going to what? Speak of hope and unity and try and boost the economy and try to stop, global warming, war, overseas, things like that. I mean, you don't take into consideration his education. You don't take into consideration his intelligence. You don't take into his consideration the fact that he's a positive man and that he sees no reason to judge people by the color of their skin or the religious background that they've come from. No, you don't take a look at that. What you want to take a look at is his church. You see these individuals seem to try to make up any reason to have doubt in a presidential candidate who wants for all of us to come together, no matter what race or religious background, to overcome issues that affect us all. This is what these individuals have a problem with. This is what they have a problem with. They don't have a problem with two presidential candidates who are Caucasian. They're not talking about them. They're not making these videos about them. They're making the video about a man who actually cares, who actually wants to do something. This is the same thing that happened during Martin Luther King's march. That he's racist and that he made a racist speech or what have you. The same individuals, the same people, the same people who don't hold a drop of water to what their accusations are. So, in a quick conclusion, I know this is going a little bit long, but I support Barack Obama all the way to the White House. I think he can make positive changes for everyone, not just black people, not just whites, because that's not who he's running for. He's running for all Americans. Black people and white people are inside of Barack Obama. He is of a mixed race. So he does understand how to fix the economy, how to fix war, how to prevent it from happening, how to talk instead of shoot, how to educate instead of just make empty rhetoric and empty promises of a profitable future for the few Americans in this country who have that kind of profit. I mean, he's working for the humankind. I mean, everybody, black, white, woman, man, child, everybody, and he's trying to bring us together. So what my question is to those individuals is, I want to know what's wrong with them, what's wrong with their point of view, what's wrong with bringing people together for the first time to overcome these major issues that each and every one of us must face today. Because these same individuals are going to run their mouth all over Obama. They're going to run their mouth all over Bill Richardson if he ever ran for president and got to where Obama is today. They're going to run their mouth all over whoever else race that they don't like or they're insecure about, only because of their own insecurities, only because they feel that they don't have a candidate that represents them, which actually they do, and more than you know. So just take that message with you, think about it, spend some time on it. Don't just retort and make up some empty blog about how I'm wrong. Here's how I'm wrong. Here's a website. Here's what somebody and somebody and somebody said. Hear the words from straight from the horse's mouth. Hear feedback from African Americans and have an intellectual discussion on why people are angry and where the anger is coming from and how to solve the problems rather than cause more problems, because these individuals are trying to cause a divide between America, saying either you're with us or you're with them, and that's not what we need. That's not what America is. That's what America has been. We want to get away from that. We want to live in a society where we all know each other and all respect each other. We may not all have to agree and get along and be the Brady Bunch, but at least we can live in a civil society where we are not afraid of each other. And if we're not afraid of each other, we can be secure with one another. Walking down the street, I no longer have to be afraid of you. You no longer have to be afraid of me. We know each other at least. We don't have to like each other or agree on everything, but we can respect those differences and not get into violent confrontations because of those minor differences. We all want education for our kids. We all want to live in safe neighborhoods and get better jobs and educate ourselves as well as others, and just come together to solve these problems. We all don't want high gas prices and Earth's pollution and things like that. If we all don't want it, then what's the problem? What's the issue with Barack Obama? What is your personal issue with Barack Obama? What is it that you can't get over yourself with? Like, yeah, you have some kind of magical goggles that really see Obama for who he really is, and the rest of the world isn't. Yeah, you really know someone when you've never met them, when all you know is what you've seen on TV and what you read in books. I mean, really, is that how I'm going to know you? Is that how I'm going to know all of your family and all your race? I mean, just by what I see on TV and what I read in books? No, it's the personal interaction between each other that really lets us know who we are. And we have chances to do that through Barack Obama. We can open up that dialogue, that that anchor that has kept us from progressing as a society for so long, for too long. and people can finally open themselves up and let go of anger and get over themselves and really start solving problems rather than making problems. So I'll probably have to chop this video up for YouTube, so I hope you guys have a big enough attention span to keep up with all this. And feedbacks are always welcome. Video responses are always welcome. I respect everyone's opinion, even Mr. Scott Roberts. Please listen to what I say carefully and try not to take them out of context, because that's what these individuals seem to do, is take things out of context and flip it into something that it's not. So, well, that's it. Questions and comments, you know where to find me.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Yes, sir. I know where to find you. All right. Man. We don't have to be the Brady Bunch. What are you on? Oh, we don't have to agree. We don't have to like each other. But we need to respect each other. And yeah, okay. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're making that one public too. We're making all things public today. All right, so public, yes, sir. And there we are. Um, this is really educational. Uh, I mean, again, okay, so I'm watching myself, right? Maybe it's cognitive dissonance. Maybe it's that, right? Maybe there's a part of myself that just can listen to myself so far, so many years back and just agree with everything just because it's me. Maybe it's me just agreeing with myself, which would be bias, right? Um, I don't know. I don't know, but I do. But so far, I'm like, so there are values and principles that I've stated, and about my ideas about racism, what it is, how it works, and who is or isn't during those times. They still hold water, number one, and number two, like it's weird. Like it's weird. You know what this is like? If you've ever like created when you were a little boy or girl, or created a time capsule, and you would write things about the future or write things about yourself, and then you would bury it, and then maybe 10, 20 years go by, and then you dig up the time capsule and you read what you wrote back then, right? And then you wrote to your future self. So that's what this is. That's what YouTube has become for me on my 17th year anniversary. What we're going through right now is my time capsules that I buried in the earth, or just the earth of YouTube, and now we're digging up these time capsules and reading what I wrote to myself, right? Well, not to myself, to the world, right? Back then, these were public videos. They did get views and they did get comments, but they didn't go. They didn't really go anywhere. I mean, some of these were 88 views and things like that. But that was back then, right? I mean, people had a lot more entertaining stuff to watch back then. So YouTube was kind of like therapeutic. I guess it still is kind of therapeutic for me in order to get my ideas and express myself about society and all that. But so yeah, so 17 years. Let's keep going. There are about I believe in total I have 63 videos. I am going to release all 63 videos. I do want to go ahead and watch all of them as a reaction, but I'm not going to do that all in one sitting. I'm just not. I'm going to go up to an hour, and I'm going to see if I can grab a batch. So basically, I'm gonna just batch them. You'll see this video, you'll see this video to a completion, and you'll see another video to a completion. There's a series that I have like 4 parts. So I'll do a video and discuss like the 4 parts. And there's one that's yeah, there's okay, so some of these videos have like 1 or 2 parts. Only because remember, back then YouTube was 10 minutes. 10 minutes was it. So I have a lot of part one, part two, part three. So in one sitting, I'll do the part one, part two, part three, because I do want to make a stream that captures all of the context of all of the parts of the video and that you understand what my mindset was back then. So, without any further ado, the next, let's see, racism in America. So Scott Roberts responded to me. So this is the response to Scott Roberts. This is March 24th, 2008. The presidential election, I think, is still happening. That's the context here. I believe Roberts identified himself as a white nationalist, which was, I mean, he identifies himself as a white nationalist on his videos, but if that is not the case today, then I hope I identify him correctly. If he is or isn't, I don't know if that's the case or not. 20 years ago, he identified, so I'm 43. He's got to be 40 something. We may be different people than we were back then. So I'm gonna again say this was almost 20 years now that he identified. So that's the context of the response of my video. Let's see. Let's see. Is part three good yet? I think it is. Okay, so all right. Now let's load this up here. There I am. There you are. And here we go.
All right. Mr. Roberts, you were kind enough to respond to me, so I'm going to respond to you. That's what I'm here for today. I haven't responded in a couple days because I've been busy running around, got stuff going on over here. So I heard your response. I heard it again today just to fresh up, and it appears that on the words that you were reading about menacing, whether or not I skipped over it. Now, at the time, I guess it just wasn't in the forefront of my mind. So it appears that I did skip over it. To pose a threat to one another, basically, is what menacing is. And you find it to be against whites, like as if whites pose, a threat to blacks, and that's pretty much what it looks like you got out of it. But during that sentence, the whole idea behind that sentence was the fact that he was comparing two races, black and white, how they were, how love was even tarnished in the context. So I don't know how you got a racist or black supremacist point of view on that. I mean, I really don't. And the fact is, it is a book that he wrote from his experience growing up in college, from boyhood to college, what he's learned, what he thought was happening around him during that time, and the lessons that he learns growing up, being mixed. So for him to say that alien apart, alien menacing and apart, that's basically true. I mean, there's nothing false about it. Two races, black and white, no matter what you do, even in references to love or just being civil to each other, they'll always look at each other that way as an alien menacing in part. Pretty much, a white person will never know what it's like to be black, and a black person will never know what it's to be white. And yeah, they do pose a threat to each other. You see, I mean, that's just a feeling you get, a gut feeling you get. Pretty much, I don't see. I mean, you obviously have that feeling towards blacks. I obviously have some of those feelings towards whites, but I don't take it out on all white people, and neither does Barack Obama in his book, even though that's how you claim it to be. See, if you were listening to, Reverend Wright's, what he was stating up there, where his rhetoric about blaming the government and basically for bringing war upon itself due to the 9/11 attacks, nothing that he said preaches to me that he wants to go out and kill all white people. So to make that comparison that Barack Obama's church is in any way, shape, or form calls to bring harm to anybody, or cause to just hate a single race, it's just absolutely false. I mean, you have no real evidence of this. All you have is the opinion of one reverend who no longer speaks at that church. I mean, you believe the whole church to be racist because of their statements in being dedicated to Africa, being dedicated to blacks being for uniting instead of black on black crime, what have you. So whatever you see there at that church, or whatever you interpret, how it is or what goes on in there, that's just going to be your interpretation, and there's nothing that anyone can say or do to preach to you otherwise. So I can just leave that. I'll just leave that subject dead. I mean, you can think that it's a KKK church all you want for blacks, but it's not. I mean, there's not one member of that church that has gone out and harmed white people and have gone to church that following Sunday proud of it. There's, there's just no evidence of what you're saying, which is basically it's a black separatist church, and that it's racist, and that the whole church is racist, and that the reason why Reverend Wright spoke there in the way he did years ago, mind you, was that just to prove your case that Obama is a racist and he does believe these things that the pastor says, even though he, you and I both know Brock says different, he says otherwise. But that's not what the church believes as an organization. One man does not speak for 8,000 people who attend there. He can say whatever he wants, but to agree or disagree is up to the person that attends that church. You can go to the KKK church all you want and believe in what they believe or not. I mean, you can go there just to be curious and find some information. I'm not saying that that's what Barack Obama did here. He went to that church for 20 years. So he must have gone there for a spiritual reason. I mean, just to go to a church and hear rants on 9/11 is not why people go to church on Sundays. People go to church on Sundays to believe and to follow the teachings of the Bible. So if, you just neglect to either mention it or see it, that Reverend Wright makes comparisons to the Bible to what's going on in today's U.S. politics compared to biblical times, which is what most churches do. They'll take a passage out of the Bible, or they'll take something that's happened a long time ago in biblical times and apply it to today's society and politics around the world. With Katrina or Indonesia or earthquakes in Thailand, things like that. They take out of the Bible, they compare it to what's going on today. And, most of them scream Armageddon or the end of days, things like that. I mean, I personally don't have those beliefs. I really don't care. I mean, the world was supposed to end 10 or 20 times already, and it hasn't. It's still here, still turning. And then there was the Y2K scare. I mean, churches can say what they want about Y2K and, how every machine was going to shut down and how we were going to revert back to the dark ages. As you can see, that's not true. I have a webcam and a microphone, and here I am broadcasting on YouTube. So, yes, I do believe Obama does believe in the church's statements and what it stands for, because obviously it's a church that does things with the community, such as organize, help people find jobs. It doesn't discriminate whether you're intelligent or not, or whether you're rich or not. Church is there for you to go to. Doesn't seem to discriminate really on much. It's just a community it's just a place in the community to help the community out. It's one of the only places that'll, do these selfless acts, helping homeless people, helping steel mill workers find jobs, things like that. So yes, I do believe that he was a part of those good things and that he went there because they do such good things. So out of the 20 years that he's gone there, you have a pastor who, screams some, inflammatory remarks after 9/11, and all of a sudden you scream racist, like the church has been racist, it's founded on racism, it knows nothing but racism, which is absolutely false. All you have are a bunch of video clips that one pastor made at this church stating about how the U.S. government foreign policies have brought war, upon this nation, or how it's basically we brought 9/11 upon ourselves, and to take that because it's kind of anti-American, and there's a lot of people who believe that 9/11 was something that we brought on ourselves, and you can disagree with it all you want. I mean, that's fine, that's your free right, but to call that idea racist, and to compare it, to go as far to compare it to the KKK, which actually not only preached hate but practices it, burns crosses, kills people, and you're afraid of speeches that was given years ago. I mean, I just don't find that holds any water in it. I mean, it's as if you're meant to scare people into realizing that there are churches out there and they're out to get you, and they're out to kill white people, and we're out to.
There's a part two. I'm moving it now. There's a part two. Yeah, yeah. Apparently so. They're out to get you. They're out to get you. Let's see. Oh, freshly loaded up. And here we check out my hair, dude. Go. My hair.
And they're out to pretty much convince people to hate white people and to blame them for all of our problems in society today, which I don't find that to be true, and I don't find that to be accurate. I mean, all the problems that are going on today are economic problems, health problems, war, house foreclosure, things like that. And those problems have no real color to them. Um, People who run it in Washington are the problem. It's not the common citizen. It's not the common black man or white man. So, just getting off of that subject for a minute, just understanding what the word menacing means changes what? It changes nothing. I mean, blacks will always fear whites, and whites will always fear blacks. Will always pose a threat to one another. Um, Probably no matter what the situation is. So for you to take that and to turn it into, well, he doesn't trust blacks. Well, he must think that blacks pose a threat to him. So when he gets to the White House, the first thing he'll do is round up all the whites and put them in a prison camp or something like that, and just execute them, such as Hitler did the Jews. Um, I mean, really, that's what you're afraid of. I mean, that's what it seems. Seems as if Barack Obama is running for a White House, and that he goes to a separatist church, and then he goes to a racist church, and if he's elected president, he'll just make all churches in America racist and separatists, and it'll be pretty much the apocalypse. I really don't see that happening. A lot of people don't see it happening. A lot of people see Obama as a uniter instead of a divider, and I believe the same thing. So we're just gonna probably have to disagree on what interpretations you've come across in your personal experience and my personal experience. They're two different views. I mean, you're going to make those statements that just gonna spit on the guy no matter what. I mean, he can like probably crap out a diamond. You'd still say you still find some way to condemn him one way or another. I mean, it's like there's no black person that's ever going to be good enough, or there's no person that's ever going to be good enough to run the country, except for white people. That's what it kind of sounds like. because if you had taken a look at the candidates so far, you'd know who the best candidate was to run for president. I mean, you single out Obama because of his church. You don't single him out because of how he grew up, or you don't point out the good things that he's done for his community or for the U.S. Senate or for the laws that he's passed or what he's fought for. You choose to look at the you choose to look at him in a negative light. You choose to condemn him because of the church, because of what someone else has said. And you choose to compare this to the KKK, which we all know, all of us. There's no mistaking the KKK and what they mean and what they do. They do harmful things. I don't care if it was 400 years ago, 200 years ago. It's still going on today. And I just don't see a rash or a gang of black people um, pulling out, a white person, from their house, their kids, and burning crosses and hanging them from trees. I mean, I just don't see that. I don't see them being executed. I just don't see it. So, uh, I guess I'm just gonna have to leave it at that. I mean, you can always post your beliefs and your responses to me. Feedback is always welcome on this. But we're just probably going to have to disagree on many of those things. I mean, I'm sorry, we just had 8 years of a retarded Christian president. This is what you want. I mean, if that's what you want for the rest of your end days and your careers, or if that's what you want to be, if that's who you think should be leading, then go ahead and vote. I mean, vote for whoever you think is best to lead the country. But in my personal belief and many people's personal beliefs, that leader is Barack Obama. So sorry to bust, anyone's bubble or anything like that, but I mean, he seems to be in the lead in the primary today, and I'm hoping he's going to win this nomination so that I can help him do everything I can to help him get into the White House and make some serious positive changes to the country. One of them he's going to probably focus on more than others, just a guess, is us being united in probably bringing about economic prosperity, as well as changing the shifts from being an oil dependent country to an oil free dependent country, and as well as increasing jobs in the job market, you know making sure that people are equal. Hopefully affirmative action won't have to stick around much longer. Hopefully people will start to just see each other as equals. He represents something bigger than just the United States. I think he represents something bigger to the world, showing the world that we're not as racist or fascist as a lot of countries believe. So that's not a reason to vote for him. That's just one of the benefits of him being in the office. And the other fact is that he is very intelligent. He knows he has a plan. You can hear his address on national security, Iraq, economy, um, even races, anything you want. I mean, he pretty much knows what he's talking about. I know what he's talking about. And there are going to be some haters out there that just don't care. They just want to sit back and watch the world burn, and which is perfectly fine. So, I'm hoping to, hear some videos from you. That'll be fine. I'm always open. I'm always here to listen. I'm not here to just get my point across and then just say, F you to whoever. I'm willing to hear anybody on this. It's just, if you do want to, accuse someone of, being hateful, or, back it up with more than just interpretation of words, or what you choose to cherry pick from a passage from a book that somebody wrote about their personal experiences coming up. I mean, if you were to tell me or read an excerpt from The Audacity of Hope stating that Obama wishes he could kill a white person, or how he felt resentment towards all white people, and I do mean those words literally, because words are powerful, all white people, not just an individual that you deem to generalize as all. That's your interpretation. That's your personal interpretation, and it holds no water. It absolutely does not. A written word is a written word. If you want to put some kind of subcontext into that, that's your own personal business. No one will answer for that. You can't even answer for that. That's just basically your own assumption. So you're going to need to come with more than just that. You really are. If you want to spread some kind of message that Obama's a racist and a fascist and wants nothing more than the death of all white people, you're going to have to come with a lot more than that. Sorry, you just are, because the accusations that you have are just false. I mean, you have nothing real but what's in your mind. You got nothing real tying Obama to a racist, fascist church that wants nothing to do but to kill all white people. I mean, all you have are the words of a Reverend Wright, which don't even support that. It doesn't even support black supremacy or real racism, or even harming people or killing people, or suggests genocide. So yeah, you really got to come with more than that to convince anybody of what you're saying. I mean, a lot of wackos here believe what they want to believe. And I'm not calling you a wacko. I'm just saying. I mean, really, some even believe that he's Irish. So hey, but keep doing your thing on YouTube. I'm here to listen. So thank you very much.
Wackos. I use the term wackos. This is crazy. This is like it's not crazy. It's just it's just a revelation. It's refreshing. You know, so back then, I guess back then, like okay, so during that era, that's how we debated on YouTube. Like we would make a video, we would excuse me, we would listen to whoever was talking, whoever made a video, we would listen to whatever they said. I would take notes, and then I would go ahead and respond in kind. We had no real streaming software back then. There were no um, uh, companies that did real time streaming. You can only stream a live recording, and then you publish the recording. That's the only thing YouTube did back then, and you only published up to 10 minutes. So yeah, so yeah. Anyway, those are the two responses. This is the context of the 2008 presidential election. It was during the primaries. So Barack Obama was winning. He wasn't the nominee yet. I'm a huge supporter. Was supporting him all the way. I was like one of those like hardcore people spreading the message like, hey, you need to register and you need to vote. This dude, this is my guy. This is the guy who's gonna make it like he's the guy we need right now. He's. I'm looking at everybody. No one's. I mean, everyone. There, people are qualified, but this guy. So, I mean, he's still that guy. I only wish he could still be leading the country right now. I mean, we need him right now. I mean, we need him back in that White House right now. Talking about a person who needs a lifetime term, it would be him. That's my opinion. But anyway, that's it's about another hour. So another good time to like take a breath. Besides, I need to eat. But yo, these videos, I mean, wow. Believe me, we have a lot to get through. We're talking, and I won't, and don't get it twisted. Like, I mean, I'm obviously not going to spend every waking moment today going through all the videos. I mean, I have plenty of time this month to get through each and every last one. So, today, you got two videos in about an hour. So tomorrow's Friday, I'll do another video and go through some other archival stuff and see how you like it. Everyone's not watching right now. This is a live stream and there are no viewers, but at least later at your own pace you can catch up, or you can actually watch at your own pace the actual videos that I released, and then maybe leave a comment there. Anyway, I don't know if comments are enabled on these old videos or not. I'll find out. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time.